The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Okay, welcome back to the Brandon Peters Show and some more PopCon 2022 coverage. This particular bit is me with the 2/3 of the Kinda Nerdy Girls show podcast from KJ today. It's KJ, who's been on here before. I remember she talked about the losers and Bonnie Tyler with me. These are her co-hosts and producers, Jonna and Katie, and they decided to help me out because on the first day of PopCon, I had some shows cancel on me, and when a cancellation happens, you can't just leave a dead stage. You need to fill time. You need to entertain people. People are sitting there and they want to hear stuff, so they joined me on stage just for some banter. We just kind of talk about what's going on. It's probably dated because Obi-Wan Kenobi had just started. Stranger Things had just finished the weekend before with its first 7 episodes. Those are 2 of the main things that come up. We just kind of talk about the things we like, what's going on, things like that. We all have convention brains, so you forgive us for mistakes or stuff like that. But Katie and Jonna are a lot of fun. I like to give them a lot of crap. They give me a lot of crap. If you see us at convention, you probably think we're enemies, but we're not. Friends to the end, although Jonna will probably deny it wholeheartedly. But let's without further ado, let's get to this. This is a like Brandon Peters kind of show. I can't remember what I called it, but it's fun, and if you just want to hear us bantering about stuff, there you go. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the live podcast stage at PopCon 2022, here brought to you by the Brandon Peters Show. I'm going to plug myself 2 p.m. tomorrow. Be here for that. There will be me and Jessica Alsman. We'll be doing some trivia stuff with prizes that are really cool.
What kind of prizes?
Retro, wild, crazy prizes.
Ooh.
And we play Trivial Pursuit from a vintage Trivial Pursuit game. So it's...
Oh, I can't play.
The parents love it. The parents of PopCon love it, and I love the parents of PopCon. They're some of my favorite people. But now I have Jonna and Katie from... Is it still Kinda Nerdy Girls?
It is.
It is.
So the Kinda Nerdy Girls.
The Brandon Peters Kinda Nerdy Show up here right now. If you were here for the history buffet, I'm sorry. They're all out of food or for thought. Food for thought. I don't know. Don't fake laugh at my stuff.
We're all out of history. So sorry.
All out of history. So we have never recorded together, the 3 of us.
We have not.
Yeah, I went to get KJ and I wound up with you 2. So we're going to make the best of it.
Well, it's the good thing we're all besties, huh?
Yes, it is. The best of the best. So, oh yeah, she can't do anything about it. So the KJ, the inside story. If you see her wandering around, we could talk.
She's on the main stage right now,
Yeah,
and she'll be there the rest of the day.
Yeah, so we can talk.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good
Super
for you.
important.
All right. So how many PopCons is this for the 2 of you?
I think this is my 3rd.
3rd?
I want to say like 4th or 5th,
4th or 5th?
Yeah.
but with the podcast, it's probably 3.
Yeah.
3? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done a live show at PopCon before? I know you were supposed to last year and then broke my heart and didn't.
We did
2 years ago,
right before the pandemic. Yep.
so many years ago.
Like years.
And then last year we were too busy emceeing and actually helping.
Oh, yeah.
do our own stuff.
I'm aware.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
It was a good time.
Awesome. And any show planned for this year at all during it? I know you got some stuff at your booth, but
We're just going to be heckling people, I think, a little bit at the booth. Yep. I don't know if we're going to have time to actually sit there and podcast together.
KJ's sister show, the Paranormal Crossroad, is doing a panel tomorrow at 11.
And 3.
Yeah, she's got 2 panels and we've got none. So
and that is Crossroad, not
Shows
X
where
Road.
we rank.
Yep.
Yes.
Love Paranormal Crossroads, even though I don't like ghosts.
Isn't it singular? Crossroad?
Crossroad. Just one.
Roads.
I don't know what it is. I just work there.
I called it X Road.
I also
For
call
shame.
it X Road.
For shame. It's a paranormal show. But What's the kind of Nerdy Girls show become now? Like, what is it? Is it the same as it always been?
What's a
or
good way to
what's the
describe
evolution of the show?
Evolution. We don't evolve. That would require maturing, and we don't do that.
Oh.
I would say if we had to describe our show, it's 95% arguing with each other
Yes.
and about 5% like general events, trivia, pop culture, movies, podcasts, video games, shows, everything else. We just like to heckle each other.
Gotcha. And it's only it's not all the way nerdy.
Yep.
No, we don't get involved in like canon and stuff like that. We don't care that much about that stuff.
I don't like canon either. Do you want to talk about canon stuff? Because I'm all like, I could probably make people angry here by my thoughts on canon.
Let's not do that, okay? It's only the first day.
You can always mess with it. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, you
Because
can.
it was all made up to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. But
So.
people are very sticklers for canon, and we're not like that. We're like, what if this happens? Well, what if that happens?
Yeah.
We don't care.
We also very much don't remember any of the other movies we watched before that one, so
That is true.
kind of a gamble.
There you go. Yeah, I just recently, I did a recording this week for my show for an episode coming out in August, so it's got to be away, but I went on a canon tangent. Might have dropped an inappropriate word for PopCon during that, saying
yeah.
before the word
Man.
canon, so. But I grew up on wonky things like slasher films and things like that, and they don't have it. It was just, here's $5, go make another one.
But that's what's like appealing about them was that, Jason Voorhees is back again and whatever.
Yeah.
And, oh, no, he didn't die or he came up from the bottom of the lake, so we got to make room for a sequel or whatever. There was no continuity, and that was not the point. The point was just another experience to watch.
Yeah, sloppiness created a wonderful lore of weird stuff, and I love that kind of thing. So you guys are anti-canon, so we can be friends. That's good. That's good. Yeah. So any sort of fun PopCon memories, or have you been here as an attendee before, and not somebody?
Not so. We're not anybody now. Okay, we just have a booth.
Still not.
I think my first time I ever came to PopCon was with KJ. Got me in for free. She's nice like that. And I got to meet
Front door or through the back?
front door.
Oh, cool.
Had my own pass and everything. It was great. I got to meet the guys from Game of Thrones, like the big Hodor guy and
Okay.
The big Hodor guy.
Bran. I got to meet him, so that was a good time. And then I walked around and spent like $300, as you do at PopCon.
Yeah. I think it was the same for me. I came a couple of times on my own, and then we all kind of realized we had it in common, so we just made it a thing.
And then did the podcast form via that, or was that something coming
it was
along
before.
Oh,
Our podcast stemmed from our radio career.
there you go.
Oh, God. The career in radio.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Because we all worked the same radio station together, and we were like,
Okay.
we were sitting in a meeting, and KJ was arguing that, yes, people do care about Star Wars Day, because they were trying to decide whether they wanted to do an event around Star Wars Day, and it was like some canned food drive or whatever. And our manager at the time was like, no, nobody cares about Star Wars. And she's like, yes, they do, I swear. So we defended her, and it kind of came into this thing where we all kind of realized we liked the same things, and it just started, she had a podcast, but it didn't go anywhere, and then we joined it, and it had kind of morphed and changed, and it is what it is now.
Does that person still have a job?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
They're just in a different state now.
Nobody likes Star Wars in Wyoming, I swear.
Yeah, when they told me that, they were like, yeah, he said no one cares about Star Wars. I was like, why would you say such a controversial thing?
As we have found, too many people care about Star Wars.
Honestly,
Yes.
a lot of people do care about Star Wars.
Very good. There you go. Hey, it's okay to care. No one said it. It was just yeah. No, and how long ago was this?
We were just talking about this. We don't know how long we've been friends.
wow.
I've known KJ for 7 years. I know that. So probably the podcast has been going on for maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, 5 or 6 is what we'll say.
That's around the time Disney bought Star Wars, and he wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hey. That's good. That's good. Is there anybody here this weekend that you're like, I must see, or I'm happy our table's
Jonna,
across from them?
Yes, 5,000%.
Yep.
The Yellowstone guys.
Mm-hmm.
So excited to meet those guys. I wish that they were over at their booths right now. I'm very excited for them. Also, super excited for all of the supernatural people like Jake Abel, because he also, fun facts for anyone who doesn't know, narrated The Midnight Sun on Audible, the Midnight Sun book by Stephanie Meyer.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I found a weird audio trivia tidbit recently that John Lithgow played Yoda in the audio drama of The Empire Strikes Back in 1985. And I have to seek that out and hear what that sounds like.
You can probably find it on YouTube.
Probably.
But yeah, so I'm super excited for Yellowstone and for all of the supernatural, because those are two things that I love very, very much. And I'm very excited to see all these great vendors out here so I can spend money.
Yeah, there's a poster person down there that I'm like, oh no, that's weak in the knees.
Oh yeah, same. Me too.
I don't even frame them. They're rolled up, sitting somewhere, and it's like, yeah.
One more.
Right. I literally just unrolled all of the posters I bought at PopCon last year and put them in frames.
Good for you. I still have my Godzilla versus Ghidorah poster that is rolled up, and I recently was like, I need to get that put up before PopCon. Failed.
Yeah, mine are all still rolled up from like 2 years ago. So they just live in my office.
There you go. Yeah. Frames, that's a thing, you know?
It is a thing. You can get them on Amazon, though, and they're super cheap.
The idea of a poster is great, but then...
You're right.
The framing, the hangings...
Oh, the hanging is like my kryptonite, man.
I just eyeball now. I don't measure. I eyeball.
I make other people do it now.
No, mine are just on the ground leaning up against the wall.
They are.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, what else you got going on?
Oh, you know, just... No, well, really, not
Twiddling
a whole lot.
thumbs. Any freebies at your booth?
We do. We have some great things donated by Conquest Journals. We got some journals, some stickers, pads of paper from Harry Potter. Where else?
So Conquest Journals is like this company that makes like all the paper products that you can think of, like planners and notepads and journals and stickers and
owned by our friend Shelley Harper.
Yeah, they're at another convention, so we're kind of filling in and helping and giving away stickers and stuff like that. We haven't really decided how. We're just kind of handing them to people. So
Gotcha.
So if you have a dope costume, you might win a sticker. That's all I'm saying.
You can use your badge. People use the badges.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
That's where I put my
I got my
3-day
3-day podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually a 7-day podcaster, but yeah.
It's a lot of days.
3 days of podcast. Yeah. I do too much. Anything you guys have been watching, talking about on have you Obi-Wan Kenobi that's popular?
Nope, not watching Obi-Wan. I just got done watching Stranger Things. So.
Okay, I watched that one.
Oh.
What'd you think without going into like details, because who knows who hasn't seen stuff around here?
Katie hasn't watched it, so I can't spoil anything.
Oh, okay.
But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Sadie Sink as Max, just that whole episode that was all about her.
Dear Billy, episode 4.
Dear Billy.
Oh yeah.
Yes. That girl needs an
names
Oscar.
of episodes.
It's the Kate Bush episode that everybody.
Yes, it is the Kate Bush.
If you've been on a
episode.
social media and seen something that said Kate Bush and Stranger Things, it's that episode.
Definitely. But it was so good, and you know, it's really good to see that show because it's been 3 years since the last season came out, I think.
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
and those kids are so big now. Like the guy who plays Will, he was talking, and I was like, when did you get a deep voice? I don't understand why that happened.
Deep voice, same haircut.
Yeah.
So do they just pretend that they didn't age, or is
No.
there an excuse for that?
No, they don't pretend that they didn't. They just like go with it. They're like, yeah, we're in high school now.
It's
Let's
like
do it.
the last one was like summer of 85, and this is spring of 86.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
that gives them a year and a half.
Okay.
They definitely had a big growth spurt, though, between that 1 year.
For sure. I do, I enjoy it. It is, they got to go to town being with their length and everything.
Yeah.
And, there is some of that felt, but overall it's really, I've really enjoyed the angle they've approached in terms of what horror series they're pulling from for most of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did think, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, whip through 5 and 6 kind of lull, but 7 makes it all worth it.
Oh, gosh. 7 just brought... I felt like they went so fast. Like, I watched one day, and then I binged everything else the rest of the day, and I was like, I'm sad it's over now.
You got till July.
Yeah, I know. And all of my friends are like, oh, I'm watching it from the beginning now. so they can, re-see the progression. Because they're like, it's been so long since the last season, we might as well start over and see what's going on.
I told myself I'd do that, and then I didn't.
Well, I did that because when I was last on, it's the end of season 3, like now, like I can watch it with my son. Like he was not old enough like to watch it. Now he is. It's like it's a weird transgression. So we went back through before this one, and now he is like hooked. He's got the new Dustin hat, and he's
I love Dustin. He's my favorite character.
all about it.
I mean, yeah.
He's the best.
The Dustin Steve, so they. Of course, they all split off in this new season, but the A squad is the Dustin, Steve,
always,
and Robin and Max, and
Oh gosh, and how much do we love Robin?
She's great.
Love her so much. I want her and Nancy to just be best friends forever, always.
Yeah, Nancy's quite a strong character throughout. Like they kind of like when they first started making it, they were like, "Yeah, Mike," and then he's like, "He's kind of obnoxious." So
Mike is kind of obnoxious.
So, but really. So no Obi-Wan for you. Just are you?
No, if anybody listens to the podcast, I know everyone is going to come in. If you're going to throw things at me, make sure they're soft. Okay, throw like stuffed animals at me or something. But I'm not like a huge Star Wars person.
Okay, that's fair. You don't have to like everything.
Well,
obsessively or.
Have you met the kind of nerdy girls? They are obsessed with Star Wars. AKA our leader, KJ, is obsessed with the Star Wars. So she's very upset that I'm not super into Star Wars like everyone else is. But
we keep trying to get her to watch it, and she decided to watch in the chronological order instead of the 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3.
That's a choice.
It is a choice.
We're like, no
it's
wonder you didn't like it. You had to sit through 3 of those first
but it's
before you
not,
got to the good ones.
Excuse me. It's not that I didn't like it. I just never cared about Star Wars before I met you guys, and I didn't care after the fact either. So that's all I'm saying.
The tomato stand is behind the curtain, folks, if you want.
Excuse me. Please throw stuffed animals at me because I need more. Thank you.
No, you don't.
Please throw $5 bills. Thank you.
I like the plushies. Gotcha. So are you watching that one? So you didn't watch Stranger Things?
I honestly have completely fallen off the wagon and haven't watched anything.
And you just gave her...
I know.
She was talking so much crap
I do
to
like
me.
Star Wars, and I do. Obi-Wan Kenobi's my favorite character, so you would have thought I'd have jumped right on it, but I didn't. I just have not gotten around to it yet.
It's halfway done.
I know. And I just never got there. And I got to watch Stranger Things at the same time, and I can't commit to those. So instead, I decided to rewatch Malcolm in the Middle for the 8th time.
That can happen.
I struggle to all right, sit down and start something new. That is what I have a hard time with. Because once I watch it, then I watch it all in one go, and I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
And I plan on it because I really like Ewan McGregor, and I really like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm interested to see how they pull the whole Dumbledore thing again, where it's Jude Law's young, and then the other actor is so old in 20 years, and they just did the same thing to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
People can age that fast. The actors are only 12 years apart from.
I mean, in our last podcast, we talked about this. Yeah. I'm like, of course you age so quickly, so horribly on Tatooine, the dirt planet. Mm-hmm. They picked the worst planet for this kid to live on. And the other kid gets to be a princess. You get to live on the dirt planet.
They do leave that dirt planet in Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is refreshing because it was about to become a sand trilogy of shows.
Yeah, I know. And I one of the big appeals for Star Wars for me is that it is so vast and so different, and there are so many landscapes and scenes, and they all kind of play into the story in different ways, like Hoth and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want a whole show on just the dirt planet while we're biding time until Obi-Wan Kenobi decides to actually do something.
Or COVID clears up. Or we can do it in our little studio.
I don't want it to be a whole movie on the Death Star. It's boring. It loses its appeal for me. I like the variety.
Right. Same here. Well, I think I like about when George Lucas was in charge, he would pick an element, and that whole planet would be that element.
Yes.
Yeah.
And granted, you can only go so far with that.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some of that getting lost here in this mix. I think I liked. So was it Ryan Johnson kind of got that because he had the salt planet. It was all salt and then red under it. That was cool. And then just a planet that's all a casino. So I'm he's kind of taking the one thing.
Okay.
JJ's were well, here's that one you liked before, but it's this now. A lot of forest planets.
A lot of forest plants. Lots of trees.
We
need trees.
But, that's why I like the whole one, the simplicity of it.
It's easy to keep track of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the whole water planet with Camino, and then you had the sinkhole planet.
Forest moon of Endor,
Forest moon of Endor. Yeah, not a planet, just a moon.
Just a moon.
Never seen what the actual planet of Endor looks like. It's just a moon with the cute little Ewoks on it. It's good stuff.
My favorite. I love the Ewoks.
Do you now?
Yes, she does love the Ewoks.
They're my favorite.
I grew up not knowing they were a bad thing. It wasn't until like the internet in the 90s, I'm like, oh, people didn't like that? Or there are some people that didn't. I think most people liked it.
They were cute, and like they didn't really like contribute any major things to the story. They were just cute, so I liked it.
They don't, I mean...
Like you have like a battle sequence, on the moon, but really
pulled it
other
off.
than that, it's not much.
They pulled it off. Wicket was awesome, right? So...
Yeah, I liked it.
I want their Yub Nub song put back in there, too. I missed that.
Yeah.
Not a stickler for that, but I kind of have a nostalgia for it. But yeah, so cool. What else could we do here?
I've been playing Elden Ring, so that's what I've been doing with my time.
Not a gamer.
I know.
Not a gamer
They're
either.
all horrible. I know.
Tell us about games.
Well, there are many of them, and you can do lots of things with them. Every time I talk about a game on my own podcast, they think I'm lying.
Oh.
Who is they? Quit lumping
y'all.
me in with them. It's
okay.
not me.
Yep. So I
Have
tell
it out.
them,
Have it out.
the plot or some
always
story
do.
of some game, and KJ just thinks I'm a big old liar and whatever. Like for example, one of the big ones that we keep fighting over is Stardew Valley. Super simple game.
Okay.
You're a farmer, and you like inherit this farm from your grandpa, and you can, you do whatever. You can go in the mine, or you can farm, or you can fish, or you can whatever. And it's very Harvest Moon-esque. It's very, I can't remember the other one. Tree of Tranquility is the only one I played as a kid. And like that's what you do. It's like doing chores as a game. And then as you get through, you can like complete tasks for people, and you can become their friends. And if you choose to marry one and have a kid, you can, or whatever.
It's like The Sims, kind of.
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
A little
love
more.
The Sims. My jam.
Not necessarily like build your own way because you have to complete all these tasks to get there. And then I made the comment. I was like, well, when you marry this guy, you can suddenly buy blue chickens instead of the regular white ones. And they just now think I'm a complete liar.
Brandon's
and have
whole
discredited me.
face was just like, what are you talking about?
I believe it. Like my kids have an Oculus, and they've been playing like Office, and it's just like sitting in an office doing office work. I'm like, that. It looks
those
really
are
cool. It's fun to
so
do,
fun.
but yeah.
Like the gas station clerk one is so fun. You play as a gas station clerk, and like people come in and you complete their orders and you leave. And then there's one that's like you play as a car mechanic, and then there's another one.
I've done the mechanic.
That one's hard. But VR is so fun, like in those like slice of life ones, just because like it's cute. You'll play it a couple of times. Like you get your parents or your friends to play it, and it's fun to watch them try and struggle with the concept of like, okay, it's 3-dimensional, and I have to like figure out motion and all that kind of stuff, and it's fun. I really like that kind of stuff. The Office one is not as exciting as it sounds, but it is still fun.
Once you're in there and you're like, oh my, this is okay.
I literally sit in an office all day. Why would I want to play that as a video game?
Because there's no stakes at this one.
There's no
VR.
stakes.
Yeah.
You're not actually getting paid for this one.
You
so
run
it
out of
doesn't really
battery,
matter.
not lose your job. So that's about all that can happen there.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Brayden, what have you been out here doing?
Yeah.
Making up for lost time where people don't show up for their podcast shows. Am I bitter? No.
Right. So who are we
didn't
sadly
show?
replacing currently?
You're replacing the history buffet. Buffet.
Ooh,
What do you know about history,
buffet.
Jonna?
That it happened one time.
Okay, great.
Or a couple of times.
What's your favorite thing that happened ever?
In history?
Yes.
Oh,
Your favorite history thing that ever happened.
come back to me.
Okay.
I have to
What's
think
your
about
favorite history thing that ever happened?
That ever happened?
Ever happened.
To
Ever
myself? To the
Ever
world?
History is history. I think it's everything.
To pick out one thing?
Pick out one thing.
One thing in like the gajillion years that we've had history.
I know,
I
right?
would say one thing about history that I kind of like is the whole Columbus thing is kind of like the truthful version nowadays that we have. I knew that long ago. I had a friend whose mother gave me a book,
Yep.
Ah, nice.
and I guess they would say indoctrinated him. But it had a lot of things that were kind of like, just sort of like extra facts that they don't teach you in the high school. I learned this stuff in college level, but like,
Yeah,
I was
you
like, holy
remember
crap.
1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue on
Yep.
the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria.
Oh, God.
I had a whole Sopranos episode about that.
Yeah.
That was funny.
love The
What's your
Sopranos.
favorite thing that ever happened?
in
Ever?
history? Well, let's just say when Stan Lee created Captain America.
Okay,
How
good
about
point.
I was going to say,
Good
Katie,
choice.
it's happening right now.
I was going to go with The Age of Pirates because
Age
it's really
of
cool.
Pirates.
Age of Pirate. Who's your favorite pirate in the Age of Pirates?
Well, as someone who played Assassin's Creed 4,
Okay.
Blackbeard is my answer because that's the only one that's coming to memory right now.
Blackbeard. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's like some random documentary on Netflix about pirates. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Netflix has a lot of random
it does,
documentaries.
and I really like them.
I'm watching one now about the 3 Mile Island meltdown.
I watched that one. It's very good.
It is really good. I didn't finish it yesterday, but it was
a little
super good.
Chernobyl, a little afraid of nuclear,
Okay.
Yeah,
really
really good.
It gets a little kind of fear-mongery in the last couple episodes, but it is pretty
Well,
good,
of course
and
it
I
does.
do like it.
There is stuff to fear, I guess.
But
so.
it is not Chernobyl.
No.
And Chernobyl was my favorite.
Oh, okay.
It is not Chernobyl. Chernobyl was my favorite
Not
disaster.
my favorite thing that ever happened,
Chernobyl
but
was my favorite disaster if I had to pick one.
let me tell you, HBO did a very good job on that series. So good.
Oh, I thought someone called you a liar out there. I was like, what?
Brian, he does
I
that.
heard that. So
He's
He's
all
going to
good.
come heckle us.
You know what?
God. What's pew 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 pew. Try to look pretty. Oh, it's difficult for me.
Gotcha. Thank you. That was a pause for a photo op in
I
case
know,
someone's listening
Right.
to a
You're
recording
gonna have to edit
of
that
this.
out later.
On, someone, you know what? I just have time to kill on my drive or something. So we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. Just, you know what? Random. Anybody in the audience want to ask us anything? You have no idea who we are.
Right.
I know. We're
It doesn't matter.
strangers.
You want to go back to the Ewoks?
You know what the Ewoks are.
They're bears.
A little bit.
Come here.
Come on up.
Come talk to us.
Come here.
We love friends.
Hang on. I'm gonna get you on here.
Hey, what's your costume, first of all?
I'm doing Sanford from Madness Combat. I have my mask over there. I don't have it on. It's a full face thing.
Okay.
Okay, I get you. I got
I
you.
like it.
What's your
Tell
name,
us about
young man?
Ewoks.
Hey, I'm Apollo. Nice to
Apollo.
meet you.
I like
Cool
that.
name.
Start listening to this podcast now.
Well, thank you.
Also, listen to the Kinda Nerdy Girls podcast. Thank
Yeah,
you.
don't listen to Brandon. Listen to us.
You know what? I need to find more
You
podcasts.
can go a little closer.
No, not him.
Yeah, I'll go through. I just need to listen to like more podcasts in general. But I love
Felt that.
just the complete naivety of Ewoks fighting the stormtroopers. One of my favorite jokes about that is that it makes a lot less sense when you imagine Furbies fighting Navy SEALs.
Right.
And it's like imagine you're going through imagine Vietnam, but there's instead of fighting soldiers, you're fighting like bear cubs. And it's
Yeah.
I still love that one meme from when Battlefront 2 got revealed, and they were like, we're expecting special forces. Like you wouldn't need special forces if you could handle a whole bunch of stuffed animals.
Yep.
Right.
I love the whole thing with Ewoks. I always stutter the moment I need to be recorded.
Relatable.
I'm the opposite way. They know I can't talk off the mic. So.
I love the thing of just Ewoks being the funniest creature in Star Wars history.
What are your thoughts on Chewbacca's Tarzan yell as he goes down the vine?
It's
Tarzan. Like Tarzan.
It's hilarious, and I think we should do more of that. Star Wars.
Didn't he say he could talk when on a mic?
He doesn't.
Yeah, it needs silliness.
Liar.
Yeah, people take it too seriously.
Absolutely, that's the thing with like modern Star Wars fans is that they complain about everything. Like
Oh, yes.
for Obi-Wan, this isn't a spoiler or anything. It happens in the first like about 10 minutes of an episode, and I'm sure you've seen it on social media. People complain about a certain scene that happens, and it's kind of a dumb, goofy, choreographed scene. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But like people always complain, oh, that scene's too stupid, that scene's too goofy, it's too unrealistic.
First of all, this is a fictional TV show, so of course it's not real.
Well, it's fictional.
What?
Second of all, Star Wars has always been goofy and silly. And
Yeah.
it has to be entertaining. And
But that's the appeal of Star Wars is that it's an 80s sci-fi movie.
Tell that to them keyboard warriors.
I know. And I will, and I have every episode. Like,
Yeah.
it's the point of Star Wars is to just have fun.
Be silly.
if I wanted a super serious, all the time sci-fi piece of media, I would just go back to Warhammer.
Yes.
Like, it's that easy. All right, I'm gonna end.
I agree.
All right. Hey, thank you, Apollo.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Did an episode forever. I'm part of it.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, Apollo.
He's
talking
right.
to
I
us.
do love the Ewoks.
I mean,
There you go. You were vindicated today
They're
here
so
for your
cute.
love of.
I'm not
of
gonna
Ewok.
lie. All
Not
I
often
know.
people agree with me.
That's true. We are always disagreeing with her on the
I
podcast,
know.
but Anytime anyone talks to me about Star Wars, I can only ever imagine the Family Guy episodes of Star Wars.
Okay.
So when they're, saying Ewoks, like the bears, I'm just imagining, the bear from the Cleveland show.
Gotcha.
So
What's something that you're into that none of them are?
About your bit on the show.
Oh, my What's Got Jonna Weeping is my bit on the show because I'm a crybaby. I'm always watching things or reading things that make me cry. So what am I?
You get that
I'm
like
a little
ugly.
emotional.
I'm a chapter 7. No.
I saw this commercial and it was just so sweet and I just can't even deal with
The
it.
last thing that made her cry was Stranger Things.
It was because they were bullying 11 and I was like, that is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Okay. And that little girl, I don't care. And
The roller skate
the
thing.
roller skate. That little girl deserved that roller skate in the face. Okay. She deserved it. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
But I'm super into like romantic comedies, romance books, things like that. And they're like, we don't care about
Like,
it.
what, are you like Fabio cover romance books? Like,
I don't think I've ever read a Fabio cover. romance
She's
book,
very
actually.
into you go to like the bookstore and you go to the ones where it's like the really like fantasy covers where it's like some guy on a horse or
Yeah.
shirt.
Yes.
Yes, billowing in the wind.
And she'll just buy all of them and read them all.
So you have a thing for the pirates, and I'm sure
I have
plenty
read
of those
few-
books
I
have
have
pirates.
read a few pirate romance books. I have. They're pretty good. I'm not gonna,
Gotcha.
they're pretty
The
decent.
romance. Is there a con for that?
There is actually. There
great.
is a romance con.
Hallmark Channel convention.
There is a Hallmark Channel. I also love the Hallmark Channel, and they do not like the Hallmark Channel.
So one of my regulars on my show, Greg Magoon, wrote one of the Hallmark Christmas movies last year.
No way.
Called An Unexpected Christmas.
Did I watch that?
Do you know
Had
that
the girl
one?
from One Tree Hill in it. That she's in a lot of them, but it was rated the top new.
I bet I watched
Hallmark
that.
Christmas
I just don't
movie.
I bet you
remember.
have.
I probably did.
I
Oh,
can't say
so
anything. I know
awesome.
stuff about its future, but I can't.
Oh man, I would like to meet this person and be his best friend.
He's
'cause
Greg
I-
Magoon. He's a children's book writer. Does a lot of stuff. Great guy. He's on my show regularly.
Oh well, if I listened to your show,
Which,
that probably would be.
If
him.
you just if you just type my name into any of your podcast apps and hit subscribe, you can go back and listen to all that.
Good old advertising.
I don't think I'll do that, but okay.
She already has. Don't lie.
I'm one of your 3 subscribers. You're right.
Well, yeah. There's you, me, and one other.
I'm not even subscribed to our own podcast.
Oh, there you go. Yes. She wants real numbers. That's what she wants.
Yeah.
She wants real numbers. Anybody else got anything you want to just throw at us or come rap with us if you want? No.
No, nobody
We're
wants
that
to
popular.
talk
They
to us.
don't
We're
like
that
us.
popular.
They don't like us.
That-
We're not
that
funny.
good.
I
We're not
get
doing
it.
a good job. I understand.
Gotcha.
This is about how our podcast is, honestly.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I got the real experience
Yeah,
here of
honestly.
the kind of nerdy girls.
Literally,
podcast.
it's just this, with KJ. That's all it is.
KJ very much drives the show. We're just the lovely talent that shows up and does our part of the show.
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Does she cut you off? Like I talk here.
Yep.
I'm KJ.
She also does her own sound effects.
She does.
Really?
Yes. She
Like,
does.
Can you do an impression? Can you do a sound effect of her sound effects?
A KJ sound effect is pew 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 pew, pa pow pa pow, ping ping ping. That's literally the sound effects that she makes.
She'll do them in the
Every
middle
episode.
of the podcast.
That's
too.
how she describes making breakfast.
That's her way of transitioning to the next part of the podcast, aka stop talking.
Yeah.
And she leaves it in the recording?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you ever go and listen to the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast, those sound effects that you hear, they're from KJ. They
They're
are not
genuine.
They're
Yep.
legit sound effects.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think I'm going to wrap this up, you guys. So I appreciate you coming up and just chomping at microphone bits with me. It's
Yep.
been a lot of fun. We might
You
do it
need us
again.
to pretend to be other podcasts later on.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
day,
yeah, that's
please let
right.
us know.
If we need to be a history podcast, I can get my phone and look
Yeah.
up
Kind,
some
the kind of history
you know.
girls.
Yeah.
Maybe, or something.
We're just
So
kind of
the
everything.
spin-off.
Write that down.
So, okay, well, I appreciate it. This is Katie and Jonna from the Kind of Nerdy Girls. They have a booth where?
846, all the way that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Social media stuff. Do you want people following you? Or?
Yes, you can follow us at Kinda Nerdy Girls on Twitter and Instagram.
And Facebook.
And Facebook. If you want to join the Kinda Nerdy Network, just type it in your search bar. It's free to join. You can post good memes and, fun nerdy stuff that you're doing in there as well.
Yep.
All right, excellent. And I am that guy, if you can't put two and two together.
You brought a picture.
The Brandon Peters Show, which you can go to BrandonPetersShow.com. Subscribe anywhere on podcasts. I have a YouTube channel, and you can find me on social media at Brandon4KUHD. Podcast Stage is going to take a break for a bit. We'll have more for you throughout the day. Thank you. Okay, welcome back here. This next PopCon coverage is near and dear to me. He's a staple of conventions and stuff, and I always see him at PopCon, is James T. Wulfgar, Wulfgar Weapons and Props. He was a big help to me in the Fort Wayne PopCon many years ago when there was just nothing to do with the podcast stage, and I needed to do something for it up there, and he came on, gave me a dynamite interview just talking about stuff. We had a good time with that. He dressed as Van Helsing from that Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman. Looked awesome. And he had a crossbow to go with it. But his crew, like John Quaid and Lisa Kleckner, they came on, did time with me talking about cosplaying, building things. They're very instrumental in helping me keep that stage going and stuff. I've been on James Maker Monday. He came right out to me when my new show happened and wanted me on that. I appreciate that. Tried to get him on this show, but him and I's schedules are very different, so it's a little bit tricky, but the time will come when he'll do his show proper for sure. But I was actually able to get him on here for a recording just like Jonna and Katie, just more bantering. We talk Obi-Wan Kenobi. We talk things. Talk about some cosplay tips and like what his process is like a little bit. He's a cool guy. He's got a great eye for design and costuming, stuff like that. It's awesome. He does a great cable. Like if you want to look up his stuff on the internet, his cable is awesome. He talks about that. He's just, one of the best in the biz. His stuff has been used in music videos, movies, shows, like stuff like that. So if you want to check that out, look at like lifelike props from movies and stuff. It's awesome. So I think you'll enjoy him. We have a lot of fun here. So it's like, again, just some extra banter. If you like the Brandon Peters Show, you like the guests I have, here you are. Here are some people that should have been on the show, but haven't yet. But now they kind of are. So enjoy this little live piece. Hello again from the podcast stage, the live podcast stage, as we are here. I'm Brandon Peters. I'm running the stage for the Brandon Peters Show, and we're going to do a little bit of stuff for me here. Hello in the back rows. Especially you. What's your name? Come on up here. Tell me your name. I love this. So this is the greatest introduction. He has to walk all the way up here.
It's Eliseo.
Eliseo. All right. Hello, Eliseo. Welcome. Welcome. Nice to meet you. I have a show here going on at 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be giving away prizes, and you can be on my show and stuff, doing some trivia with Jessica Altman for the Bob and Tom Show. Great stuff. Come be part of the audience. I've got some weird prizes that you'll want to win. But now I'm here with someone who's like a staple of like PopCon conventions. And if you're into props and things like that, listen up, because I have Mr. James T. Wulfgar with me. Hello, James.
How you doing?
I'm not bad.
Yeah, I can see that there's pretty much standing room only. So hey, you can crowd in. It's fine.
He's doing photo ops after. Good. You can start that line already.
Yeah.
How have you been?
I've been good. It's PopCon, so I'm really excited about just being at PopCon.
Gotcha. This is where we see each other every year, pretty much.
Yeah. Sometimes we see each other online, do interviews that way, but this is the one in person, right?
Yeah, this is one in person. I look forward to every year. The Wulfgar Weapons, that's your company.
Yeah. And I also run Cause Awesome Studios.
Mm-hmm. Cause Awesome Studios, yes.
Yeah.
So if you've never been to a PopCon or you've never noticed the sweet booth, what is it that you bring to the show every year?
So we bring costumes and props, mostly props, made by cosplayers for cosplayers. Typically, we're in costume at some point throughout the weekend. This weekend, we have less people in costume, but we have a bigger booth. And yeah, we just kind of hang out and, let people see different props that are made and, of course, sell them.
And you've got some really, like, I mean, your props are they're movie ready pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
film
we
ready.
sell to movies. We sell to a lot of films.
What movies and stuff have you sold to that you can talk about that are some highlights?
Most of the Hollywood, excuse me, most of the Hollywood stuff we just sell to the Hollywood prop houses.
Mm-hmm.
So our stuff basically goes in the back or just in the prop house, and then people rent it. However, there's a lot of times I've been like watching a movie and been like, I think that one might be ours, but I can't tell for sure. For Hollywood major events. And then there's a lot of stuff like for music videos, we've sold to Lana Del Rey. We sell to a lot of like just musicians and music videos there. Nothing's really coming off the top of my head as far as like exactly who.
Right. Have you ever been surprised by one and known it was yours and didn't know it was going to be used in that purpose?
No, I mean, typically we know, right? And a lot of times I'll shadow build for somebody, so I'll build parts of a costume or I'll build parts of props, and then they'll take it and build onto it.
Gotcha.
So that's how a lot of that goes, so especially like sci-fi stuff.
Gotcha. Roughly how long? So these guys, they've got some military fatigue-ish stuff on that's accurate, and then we have like a more size. Is that a Han Solo blaster of sorts?
I mean, no, it's still military. It's still very much for period.
So for these guys, like before you guys didn't make those, did you? No. Okay. I didn't want to so before they buy them, how long is that process to get start to finish? If you were to do something like that? I mean,
a lot of it depends on the process, but it looks like they have.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have Soviet surplus gear.
All right, if you were to replicate it, then.
Right, so if I was going to replicate it, especially the props, it looks like they have some airsoft guns there. Yeah, they're all airsoft. And so with those, sometimes we use airsoft to do that. So really, it takes very little time as far as making them blacked, sanding them down, making sure that everything looks good so they're not airsoft. We deactivate anything that we use an airsoft for. And then, of course, you have to add to it. So a lot of times if it's a sci-fi show where they want something like that, but they want it to look a little bit more sci-fi-ish, that'll take extra time. But really, it's not too long. We do tend to hand paint almost everything that we make, including some of the airsoft mods. So if it was stuff like that, we would just have some hand paints on it. But those look awesome. And what they've done is they've just come to the con. For those who can't see them, they're in full gear, and then they have some airsoft guns with them. So yeah, they're rocking it out.
Awesome. That's great. And when things like, if you do aging to something, do you make it clean first, then do an aging thing, or is it built up from start with the aging?
I mean, typically, if I know it's going to be aged, I just age it from the beginning. But I mean, everything starts clean. It's cleanish, right? Because you have that clean set of paint. But the fun parts are the ones that when you mess up, and then you go, okay, well, cool. That can just be that part's broken. That's some battle damage there, right there. So every once in a while, if you're building something, you can make it, a one of a kind type of thing because you messed up that one place, and instead of having to trash the whole project, you just kind of go with it. And it's kind of like Bob Ross says, the happy accidents.
Right.
Yeah. So that happens a lot.
Best happy accident you've had?
I mean, a lot of the happy accidents basically end up on my costumes.
Okay.
Right, because I don't mind.
You kind of have like an original thing, don't you? Have like a group or some costume? I know you've had a banner.
Yeah. So that's part of the Cause Awesome Studios I talked to you about earlier. We just kind of do all kinds of different characters and different kinds. My favorite character to be is Cable from X-Men.
Right. You have a sweet Cable outfit over the years. I have seen that one.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to bring him today, this weekend, but I didn't actually. But with him, there's a lot of stuff that's like a broken prop that we've worked on, or something that's like bits and pieces. Mm-hmm. And because he's very futuristic, I can actually take a lot of those pieces and put them on him in some way. So a lot of happy accidents end up on one of my Cable versions.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. What about, simpler thing, the headband thing down there. I don't know what she's dressed as, but... Yeah.
Hi.
As what?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, how would I make a headband?
Well, like how like something like that is a little more fantasy driven. Is there a simplicity that comes with less authentic, like less like having to be like a military grade or?
I mean, kind of. With the military grade or something, you can just take a lot of times found items, right, and build off those and weather those. But with the horns or something like that, then yeah, I mean, I would start with a 3D print usually. I mean, those don't look like they're 3D printed, but you can go any different way. But I tend to make a lot of headgear with 3D prints, and then of course elastic, and just go from there.
Gotcha. Awesome. Any kind of big works in progress projects you got going on right now that you can talk about?
Well, yeah, we're always making new products, and one of the fun things for me is, typically what happens is somebody will come to us and they'll ask for a commission. So there's a bunch more Star Wars stuff that people were asking for, and that ends up being it ends up being a product usually in our shop. So right now we're doing some General Grievous stuff. We're doing actually a lot of things from the original trilogy. Or not the original trilogy, I'm sorry, but episode 1, 2, and 3, which usually we haven't done much from, like Clone Wars type stuff. Sure. So there's a lot of Star Wars stuff.
Those kids are old enough now and have money.
Yeah, they are. They're old enough and they have money now.
Mm-hmm.
And, to me, I grew up with A New Hope. Is that Kitty Thor right there? Oh, man. I love this guy. He's been at so many cons. But yeah, I mean, getting back to the question about like what's coming up. So we're always making Star Wars props. What's fun too is every time there's a new show that comes out,
right?
Whether it be like literally anything,
even animated ones,
ones like Dragon Prince. I definitely want to be like 3 characters from Dragon Prince. It's one of my favorite shows. Whether I'll get there or not, I don't know, but that's every time there's something new that comes out, I'm like, okay, I want to cosplay this, or I want to build some props from this.
Gotcha. What's been the most, for you, inspirational one, not the one that lately that's been something new that just clicked and like I need to make everything from that right now, if I could?
Oh, man. I will say I'm loving the new episodes of Kenobi. I'm very upset because I had a long beard. And like right before Kenobi came out, I was like, oh, I should cut down my beard for summer. And I'm like, oh, wait, I definitely... Never mind. I'm going to grow that back out because I want to be Kenobi.
Gotcha. Have they gotten the Inquisitor outfits right from animation to the live action, or do you have some pointers that they should have done?
I mean, I think what they did was great. Right? They look fine, and I totally understand from like a making perspective why they did what they did.
Right.
But they definitely look different, and I know some people are upset about it. I think the Inquisitors look great, and the acting in them's fine. It's Star Wars, so it's not always the best acting. But
never has been.
Yeah, right.
That's the thing. People, there's this like misnomer that it was this eloquently acted thing, but it's always been silly. That I was talking earlier about stuff like it's always been silly, always.
It really has, and so like, but they're kind of going to that same place. And in the same vein, their costumes are going to be a little. Off, right? They're going to be a bit off, but it still works very well for the medium that they're doing.
Gotcha. Just curious about that because I'm like, that's something that people were dressing based off animations before, and now you have a live action reference.
It's just like a lot of stuff, right? Like that happens all the time with other mediums, and you can be both. I will say that I'm really excited to. My daughter actually wants to be little Leia with me.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to build the little robot that she has and everything else like that.
Gotcha. I've been having fun. Some of I wouldn't even say they're canonical changes, just stuff you might not expect have been kind of funny to me, but I'm enjoying it as all like, I've been doing tweets where I'm like, Dear General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars, and that one time rescued me from the Red Hot Chili Peppers bassist. But right now is the time. And then recently it was Darth Vader with I sent something I haven't sent since Mapuzo.
Yeah, there's definitely some things.
It doesn't bother me, but
you
it's
should
just
probably go back and retcon that or something, right? Like,
yeah.
And that's what they're going to end up doing. I am glad that they didn't mess with, or so far they haven't messed with the Luke storyline.
Right.
So that's
Right. It's fine. And if they do, oh well. We move on.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah, so anything this particular PopCon exciting you about this year's 2022 PopCon?
I mean, really, the reason I come to PopCon is to see the people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to hang out. I'm very excited to just see a bunch of people I haven't seen in a while. I'm very excited to, usually Saturday is that big day that you're going to see all kinds of cool costumes. But today, I've seen a ton of cool costumes walking around.
It's a good day one.
And yeah, for Friday, for day one, I've been very much enjoying myself. The reason I come to conventions typically is to be in costume or to see people in costume.
Right.
That's my big number one reason, and today's been pretty good for that.
Yeah, I've always said the difference between the PopCon and the other ones is it feels like people come here for the people they've met here first, and then what else is what are we doing with it this weekend then?
Yeah,
so
yeah. And
there's
and
a
also
familial aspect to it.
Mm-hmm. And meeting new people too. PopCon's usually pretty good about just being pretty people when they're out and about are usually pretty good about meeting people, and I met a lot of friends here, and I just want to continue to do that.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Does anyone have questions for James at all? Do you want to? You can shout something out. Eric, you can come up and...
So when it came to Darth Vader and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I personally thought they did really well with how they've kind of kept his costume and all that really consistent.
Yeah.
And when it came to the Inquisitors, I know a lot of people were a little bit upset about the some of the changes, but I feel like it was mostly changes for comfort and all that. What do you think about that?
For sure, that's what I was saying.
Hold on, what's your name?
My name is Jonah.
All right, my name is Jonah. So
I understand why they changed them. A lot of it is for comfort or the way they'd have to make it. I really do think that they. Really, all the Inquisitors except for the character that Moses plays, I don't remember her name in the show, all look, very detailed costumes. Her costume's really good too, but she needs to do more jumping around and fighting and things like that. So it's a little bit more minimalistic. That makes sense from a costumer's perspective. The makeup on them is really, really good in my opinion. It is different though. I imagine that somebody out there was like, hey, can you do the makeup on this? And somebody else was like, yeah, sure. And I don't know how much they looked at the references, but it works out and it looks good and it works for the show.
Kind of checking out the sign over here.
Yeah. It's a good sign, really.
Thick thighs save lives.
I mean,
for those audio listeners later on after it. So excellent. Thank you, Jonas. For your wonderful question. You'll be able to hear yourself on the Brandon Peters show sometime next week or after. I don't know. Depends how tired I am after this weekend and how much I want to edit. So excellent. What else you got? Been checking out lately or?
Lately we've been doing a lot of other cons, right? So
right.
I'm admittedly
Now's your chance to trash them. So if you want to talk about.
No, actually, I'm very much enjoying a lot of the cons I'm working with. We've been doing a bunch of fan expos, and those are fun. I didn't make it to Star Wars Celebration, but that looked like it was a blast for people who were out there. So I got to make that when it comes back to the States. Next year it's in London. Mm-hmm. As far as other stuff I've been up to, it's a lot of it's just learning new ways of making things, going through and making things, making new product, and also just making new costumes. And I'm really excited because the last half of the year this year for us is all not selling costumes conventions, so it's all fun conventions.
Gotcha.
So the last half is we'll have Dragon Con and a few others that we can go and hang out and make our own costumes and worry about that, and then of course Halloween.
Gotcha. What's the last convention you went to as a paying patron? You paid. You were just going as a fan. You paid it. How long ago has that been?
I go to C2E2 as a paying patron sometimes.
Okay.
Depends on if I'm doing panels or what I feel like doing. Mm-hmm. I think the last one that we went to, I didn't do anything. I just kind of went and bought passes. But typically, I'm working in some way. And this next upcoming C2E2, I think I'm going to be working in
Gotcha.
as well. But a lot of times it is just fun to go on vacation to a con.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, what would be, if you could come up with a convention, what's a niche that would be your dream to just pull off? Someone's like, here's a blank check, put on a convention for something niche that's up your alley. Since you've been to, like, you go to all these conventions that cover different things. Granted, there's a general pop culture sense, but what would be, where's a niche that you think?
If you blank check it, I would definitely do something like, I would probably mash all the ones that I like together in some way, but really some type of adult costume. I mean, obviously kids are fine, but I feel like a lot of times people can't really be themselves when they're... I've been to some cons, like Dragon Con at night, where people can just be in costume and they're just kind of running around being big kids, but they're adults. And I really do like that. I think a lot of times during the day, it's fine to costume during the day, but for a lot of cons, they end at like 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and then everybody kind of goes their separate ways. Okay. So a more continuous con would be important for me. And then also just stuff that like basically just helps people who want to be in costume and maybe don't typically do it, be more comfortable in costume.
Gotcha. Awesome. That's good. I'm going to go on off topic here.
Yeah, do it.
You and I'm going to, because we're recording it and I'm going to put it out there. Do you have, we have a mutual friend named Jen.
Oh, yeah.
We'll call her Jen. And do you have any like rando stories you could share with me that she wouldn't want heard over a PA system at a convention that she's not at?
Oh, that's... First of all, it's super mean.
And come on.
I probably
something funny, clean.
Oh, man, I can't... No, I've known Jen for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute since I've seen her, but we went to college together. Honestly, Jen's... Funny stories about Jen. I mean, I introduced her to her husband.
That's right, yes.
So that's fun, but it's not really funny. But... No, Jen, let's see. I met her when she was at a comic shop.
Okay.
She worked at the comic shop. She totally was just like one of the 2 girls that worked there. And back in when she was working there, there weren't many girls that were in the costumes, or not costumes, comic books, and things like that. So I just remember being friends with her, and like literally everyone I knew was like, hey, what about Jen? Hey, what about Jen? And then like the guy that I introduced her to that ended up being her husband. He was just like, hey, he wasn't that way. And I think that I really have found that is just a thing. Like if a girl is always getting hit on, the guy that doesn't hit on her is the most interesting one.
Yeah, totally. There you go.
She's a good example of that, I feel like, to me.
Guy advice over here at PopCon 2022. Be the quiet one. Oh, interesting. But no, that's how you and I, like, I wouldn't have got out because I knew her. She had shown me, like, your cosplay stuff before, and then I saw you at one of these PopCons that I just went, I was like, I'm just going to go randomly say we know the same person.
Yeah, let's go.
And since then, we're here. We did. So, like, the last time we did one of these was at the Fort Wayne PopCon, you and I.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to record that.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that on the way here. Like, it's really sad that Fort Wayne PopCon didn't take off.
Yeah,
I had fun.
That was a fun weekend.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because you had a great Van Helsing cosplay.
Yeah, I was
from
Van Helsing.
The Hugh Jackman Van Helsing, Stephen Summers one, which I was like, I think that's what he is, but then again, that wasn't very a popular movie, but.
It was a crossbow. The thing that gave it away was the crossbow that was from the movie.
Yes.
And that was. I remember being Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing, and just a lot of people were like very excited about that con. The energy was there.
Yeah.
Which is always important to me. Just making sure that people are having fun and chilling, and I hope that they try that again. Maybe not in Fort Wayne, but somewhere else.
Right.
I really feel like there could be different PopCons throughout the state.
Yeah, like I don't think it was as like big as they would have wanted, but like everybody that was involved in it somehow or went had a blast at that one.
Yeah,
it was really crazy. Like I was like, well, I don't know, but I had a really good time, and I was thrown into like a sea of like a challenge for that weekend. But people like you and stuff made that really happen, made the podcast stage alive when I had nothing.
Well, it's always fun. I mean, especially because you and I, when we get together, a lot of times we talk about movies or just random whatever. And, yeah, I mean, it's fun to be able to do that, right?
Right.
Yeah, we can do it online or we can do it while we're just sitting in a hotel room by ourselves. It's still just a good conversation a lot of times. And I think what you're getting at with PopCon, I completely agree with. Like, right, people are there and they're having fun. And I guess that's the same reason we come here, like we said earlier. I really would like to just see that happen more.
Yeah.
And not even at PopCon, just everywhere. Right?
Yeah. Just people being nice to people like sharing their passions in positive ways.
Oh, so that too. I do a lot of panels on like cosplay, right? So a lot of it is like, hey, we're at cosplay on a budget. Like, hey, let's talk through this. And my first question to everybody's like, so, but why do you cosplay, right?
Right.
And most of the time, they're like, well, I mean, it's fun. And I'm like, well, okay, well, let's go through it. Well, like, why is it fun? Most of the time, it's because they want to meet people. And the cosplay community is really a very good, fun, supportive community. Unlike some communities I've been part of, where I was very much, like, against the people that I was in the community with because it was, like, a tournament-based thing.
Right.
Cosplay is not very competitive at all. Everybody's very much supportive.
They're in awe of each other's things rather than,
Totally. I mean, I call it like a mutual appreciation group, right? Like everybody, like I said, I'll walk around and I'll look at a bunch of people in costume and just, oh, how'd you make that? Or, man, that looks awesome or something. And you get that all the time when you're in costume as well. It's just a different kind of community in general. And I really feel like it's something that I don't know that everybody understands that doesn't do it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, and you can also meet random strangers easily by going, hey, nice, I recognize that outfit type thing, and it's not creepy, weird, or it's less. It's funny. The more weird you get to other people, the more normal and safe it feels otherwise.
Definitely. So, and the other thing about it is, when it's just like going up to somebody that has the same sports team shirt on as you, right?
Right, exactly. That's fine. That's considered like human or something. I don't know. It's weird.
But if you go up to somebody that has the same character on as you can not only say like, "Hey, I love that anime," or "I love that like show," but you can also be like, "Hey, do you want to like go do this photo shoot together? Do you want to be like part of the group? Do you want to like go around together?" And so it's. What I try to explain to people is it is a lot like being part of the same like sports team fans, but then you can also do other stuff. I guess you can go to games with the other people too.
Right. Well, the funny thing is, like, I've always, sports are dorky from a fandom perspective. Like, it's considered like all this acceptable stuff, but like you look at like the fantasy things, stats, all sorts of things, like dressing up, all that stuff. It's all there, but that's the acceptable one. And I do follow some sports and stuff like that. So it's not like if I like something, I like something, but like it's fun. Like you can see what it is, and you're like, why is that okay? And this is not.
Well, there's some people that come up and they'll say like, hey, that's not okay. Or like anybody who's trying to tell you that something's not okay or something's dorky or whatever. Do we really want to like hang out with these people who are being that judgmental?
Right.
Probably not, really.
Yeah. And it's funny, like I saw I think it turned 20 years old this year, but there's that documentary back in the day called Trekkies, which primarily focused on, but it was the first look like to the public eye of like a fan culture. And it's funny because there was a woman she worked in a bindery room and she wore a Starfleet uniform every day to work, and she got jury duty and she wore it to jury duty because she felt comfortable in it. She felt like, it's a professional thing in her world and stuff. And like, I'm like, yeah, why not? Like what? I mean, I do wear a Tom Baker Doctor Who jacket in the winter as a normal jacket. But,
sure.
And people are like, "Wow, that's really cool." I'm like, "But if I tell you what it's from, you're gonna look at me like this, Like it's this red corduroy looking thing, and it's funny because it gets a lot of compliments. I'm like, if I told you, then you wouldn't have. If it was so obvious, it might not have been.
The funny part about that is, I feel like if you would have told them a couple years ago, then maybe they'd been like,
it's
but now it's
evolving.
Well, no, it's actually to the point where like nerds and dorks like us are winning, right?
If you are in the vendor hall, please return back to your booth. You are missed. Thank you.
Thank you. As we pause for station identification.
Yeah, right. No, but there's a lot of that like I don't know how to put it. Maybe not that we're winning, but there's a lot. Nerd culture is way more acceptable, right? Like, so if I'm walking down the street and I have my Star-Lord jacket on and I'm using it as a normal jacket, not only are people going to say like, "Hey, cool jacket," but they might be like, "That's an awesome Star-Lord jacket," because they all know Star-Lord. And they also might say like, "Hey, where'd you get that?"
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, they're wanting in on it too. As opposed to what you were saying before, where it's like you want to keep that on the down low.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna wear my Doctor Who jacket, but not tell anybody.
Right. Exactly. But I always find it funny. I love the reaction of like somebody who's like, "Oh, that's really cool," or the, "Oh," I'm like, "You liked it before I said that."
Yeah, you totally liked it.
You liked it before. I'm all about the weird reactions from people.
For sure.
So, but yeah.
And it's actually I use that a lot to like judge people whether I'm gonna get along with them or not.
Yeah.
Right? If I come up to somebody, I'm like, hey, I'll talk to them and meet them out of costume, and then I'll be like, yeah, but if you see a convention, I'm usually there and I'm in costume. If they're like, oh, that's cool, then we're probably going to be able to be friends. But if they're like they don't know what to do and it gets awkward,
right,
then we probably aren't gonna. I'm kind of done right there.
Right? Yeah.
Fine.
I'll write you off already.
And I'm not trying to write them off completely, but I'm like, hey, this is what I find fun to do.
Right.
And I don't find probably some of the stuff that you find fun to do. So we're not going to be friends.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you pick friends, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, not everybody has to agree with everything, but you can find a common ground and stuff like that.
Sure.
But there are times where it's just like, yeah, no, this isn't, and that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, your friends tend to be the people who you have common interest with, right? If you're really into Pokemon, your friends are probably going to be people who you met through that or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, it's been fun. Like we'll call this a weekend with Wulfgar or something like that. I don't know, but I appreciate. Do you want to plug where your booth, online, everything else?
Sure. So we're Wulfgar Weapons and Props. I'm actually going to hopefully rebrand that a bit to Wulfgar Props. And yeah, you can find us online if you just Google it. And we just are a prop company that we do a bunch of stuff for both cosplayers and film. We do make custom commissions. So there's a lot of people who will come to us and they're like, hey, I have an idea for a movie and I want this character to have this cool costume prop thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to do that. I love working with directors and things like that. And then also if you just want a replica of something you've seen on TV already, we typically can do that too. But we are branching out more into the whole like create our own creative stuff.
Cool. Excellent. All right. And of course, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. My show is The Brandon Peters Show. It's thebrandonpetersshow.com. I have a big old live show tomorrow at 2, so please be here for that. But the podcast stage will return. It's scheduled at, 6? Is Cosplay Talk? Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. But
We'll see. But thank you, Mr. James T. Wulfgar, as always. And yeah, we'll see you around.
Okay.
And
bye.
Jonah in the audience. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.